Now, anyone who has watched this channel for a while knows 3 things. I love Majora's Mask, I like Super Mario Sunshine a lot, and I'm very opinionated. However, today we will only talk about the first thing I mentioned, because I will share with you something fascinating that I found. A secret to Majora's Mask that very few people have ever seen in their lives. A world and time in the game that you normally can never visit. Related to the development of this strange Zelda game that even gave the creator nightmares. So, without further ado, let's jump into all of this. But first, introducing my new store, Wily.gg, the place to buy your new games and get your hands on eShop cards for Nintendo as well as Xbox. And don't forget, use code Wily at checkout to save 10%. Now let's continue. Now, after the release of the smash hit Zelda Ocarina of Time, which gave Nintendo a new level of fame in the industry, Shigeru Miyamoto was planning to release another version of the game for the Nintendo 64 DD with remade dungeons. This way, they could capitalize on the success, which was certainly needed because the Nintendo 64 era wasn't that profitable for Nintendo. However, in the end, Eiji Aonuma did not like the idea of remaking the same dungeons, and so he secretly started working on new ones instead. And as you can imagine, he was filled with optimism. But after asking Miyamoto if he could make a new game, he replied that he could, as long as it was made in 1 year. Now, as we all know by now, they did accomplish this by making the most out of Ocarina of Time's assets, while still focusing efforts into designing a new game structure. And in the end, Yoshiaki Koizuma proposed a system of time passing where the same moments would be played over and over and over again. And so, the magical and iconic 3-day system was created. Now, soon after this, the idea of the falling moon was introduced also thanks to Koizuma, who was daydreaming about what would happen if the real-life moon started to fall towards Earth. And so slowly, the game became more and more weird, leading to the creation of Majora's Mask, one of the most artistic and depressing Zelda titles ever released. However, originally, one thing was going to be different. Very different. As we all know, in the final game, we went through a 3-day cycle, but originally an entire week was planned. But this was later shortened to only 3 days to make it easier to remember the character schedules, and also because of time constraints. I mean, they only had a year. Now, this information was released when late CEO of Nintendo Satoru Iwata questioned Zelda producer Eiji Aonuma on the development process of Majora's Mask to celebrate the launch of the 3DS version of the game. Now, I bet most of you aren't surprised by what I just told you. Many people have read articles covering the interview that I just mentioned after all. However, the next thing we will talk about isn't something most people know, because you can actually access the 4th day in the game. A day in the game that you were never supposed to see because it wasn't part of the planned experience created by Nintendo. But using some clever tricks, you can get access to this new world that most of us have never seen in our lives. Because there's actually a glitch that allows you to play past the 3-day limit and explore Termina without the limitation of a clock, or anything really. And during this time, you will see some strange things. For example, most of the Terminians are actually gone, and the moon has even vanished. Well, sort of. If you look up, you can actually see that the moon is all the way up there. A position that was going to be used for the 7-day cycle that never made it into the game. Now, because of the nature of the glitch, there's no way to complete the storyline with this glitch activated, which makes sense. The moon, 3-day clock, and most NPCs are gone after all. So you can't really complete any main quests or side content. So don't use this glitch when you want to actually, beat the game, because it doesn't give you unlimited time to complete it or something. Now, once this glitch has been executed, there are some actions that cannot be done anymore, and there are some other glitches which can be activated now. But let's get into the nitty-gritty. How do you perform this strange glitch? Well, first you go to the Astral Observatory near the end of the third day, and look through the telescope by talking to Professor Shikashi. Now, as you're looking through the telescope, you have to keep a close eye on the clock below. This is crucial, because you need to press B to exit the telescope view as close to the clock reaching 0000 as possible. But if you actually let it reach 0, it will be a game over. As you can imagine, this requires some good timing, and many fail the first couple of times they try this. So be sure to set up a save file for it, so you can try again and again and again if you do mess up. Now, if you're successful, once you have exited the telescope view and spoken to the professor, the clock will have vanished from the bottom of the screen, and time will flow uninterrupted past the 3-day limit. And to use your items again, you will have to talk with the scarecrow and go forward to the next night. However, when the game is in this weird state, you do have to be very careful, because at this point, the game is quite unstable. You can quite easily make the game crash, for example by playing the Song of Time. This will cause the game to freeze, usually. Now, the only way you can actually deactivate the 4th day glitch is by resetting your console, and sometimes playing the Song of Time works, but again, it can also crash the game. But there are more ways you can absolutely destroy your save file. For example, by talking to the Clocktown mayor in his office. He is conducting the meeting with the carpenters and the guards, and if you interrupt him, it will cause the screen to go white, the game will freeze, and the music will play faster than normal, but it is rather choppy. And everyone except for the mayor and Link are invisible during the meeting, and the camera does not pan between the parties. But dialogue text from all parties is visible on the screen, and the game freezes once the dialogue is over. So, as you can see, it's easy to destroy your hard work. But this isn't all. This glitch also works in the 3DS version of the game, and has a similar effect. And there isn't just a 4th day, but also a day 0, which is again a bit buggy, but it does allow for something quite cool. When used in Romani Ranch, the aliens will be defeated instantly, so you can obtain the Romani mask without shooting any aliens or even having a bow. And that isn't all. It also allows you to use any item no matter which mask you wear, which is also very handy. And so this trick was actually used in certain speedruns. Although I don't really know if people still use it because the speedrun has changed so much in time. I mean, they can use tricks now where they can spawn in any item they want and even teleport towards the end of the game. But as you can see, there are still leftovers of the original 7-day cycle in both the original game and its 3DS remake, surprisingly enough. I'm not sure why it's even seen in the 2015 version, but it could be that this is the case because they used a lot of code and stuff from the original, even though Grezzo likes to claim that isn't the case. But you gotta remember, that's basically a lie. Now, as you can see, the world of Zelda still has its secrets, and in time, more and more will be found. And who knows, maybe I will cover them, but I bet there are some that I already made a video on that you don't know about. So, be sure to check them out. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this strange little video. It was something I thought of and wanted to really cover in a video, because I think it's weird and fascinating at the same time. If you have any video ideas, leave them down below. Be sure to subscribe, click the bell button, do all that good stuff. And yeah, if you leave a comment, I will read it, because I'm everywhere. Bye!